Hi everybody, welcome back to Mindful Moments. Today, what is today? This is I think the 8th one that we're doing, probably the 8th one we're doing or the 9th one we're doing. Today we're going to do something, we're going to talk about breaking bread with our dogs, literally, and myths and all these kind of crazy ideas that are floating out there, the nevers and always. Kind of things, which really separates us from our dogs. The more we think you should never do this or always do this, that just puts another barrier between us. So we're going to dispel some of those myths. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to share some food. Now this is something you probably always do, right? You're sitting there, you're eating, you give your dog your last bite. I really like breaking bread with my dogs, and the whole idea of breaking bread was always a sign of friendship and camaraderie and companionship. And it's a great thing to do with our dogs. Come here, guys. You want some of this? So we have, good boy, come here. So we have, here's, I don't know if you can see Cecil down there and Bodie. And I have my bread. And they don't have to do anything for this. Hey, Bhakti, you want this? Good girl. I'm not going to make them perform like a circus dog for me for this. Hey, Cecil, here you go. I'm going to share my food, share this moment with them when I'm eating. You know, I have here, I have my hummus here, and my bread, and when I have a snack, I always like to include my dogs. Now, I want to say, very importantly, that before you start giving your dogs food, especially if they've never had it, always double check with your vet to make sure it's safe for them. Because they can't eat everything we can eat. And certain things, especially things like artificial sweeteners and other items, can be very toxic for them. So double check with your vet definitely before you give them something. But a piece of bread is a great thing for them to have. Not too much. Not good for me either to have too much. Come here. You want this? Good girl. Bodie, you want some? Come here. But they can share what I'm eating. You see some. And we can share a moment together. Now again, usually I'm not talking when I'm doing this. But this is a moment that we can share together and enjoy each other's company. And eating mindfully is a wonderful experience. You know, so often we just jam food into our mouths, and you know, or we're watching TV and we're just mindlessly shoving stuff in. Eating is one of the greatest things, and I know our dogs quite often are not really mindful when they eat. If your dogs are anything like mine, when I put the bowl down, by the time I go away, half of it is gone already. They've inhaled it. Not all dogs are like that, but most dogs are. But we can become very mindful when we eat. So even something as a piece of bread, there's so many textures and smells and the way it looks and the way it feels, even before we put it in our mouths. Just the textures of it. It's an amazing thing. And then when it's in our mouth, feeling how the different shapes and textures, again I use the word textures, and the tastes and the sensations, and taking each bite for itself. So we're doing it in a very mindful way. And we're not going to expect our dogs to do that. Here you go, love. We don't want our dogs to sit and do that. We're not going to teach them to do that. Here, see something. But what we can do is we can enjoy the moment of eating with our dogs and share with them the pleasure of doing this. And this itself is a mindful moment where we can give them something to eat and connect with them. It doesn't always have to be walking or sitting or breathing. It could be actually eating and enjoying and noticing the look in their face and the appreciation. And again, I really want to stress, this is not a time to use food as a motivator. This is something just to share. So I'll take a bite, give them a bite, and we're breaking bread together and we're sharing it as friends. And it's a myth. I know a lot of you are looking like, whoa, he's sitting at the table and he's feeding his dogs from the table. You're never supposed to do that. Right away, when the word never comes up, I get suspect. There are a million myths out there. And one myth is never feed your dogs from the table. Well, let me tell you a couple of things with that. One, you don't have to feed your dog from the table if you don't like it. If you don't want to sit and share food with your dog, that's fine. You don't need to do that. But if you choose to do that and you choose to share it with them, there's nothing wrong with it. They're not the subservient peasants that you may throw a scrap to once in a while. This is the stuff of life. This is food, and we're going to share it with them. So that's a huge myth out there of never feeding your dogs from the table or giving your dogs people food. Truth is, if I would need it, I usually don't give it to my dogs. Other myths, there's so many other myths out there that we'll talk about when we get it, like you always have to be the boss and all these things. But the biggest myth is never share your food. And I think that's your choice, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. They're not jumping on me, they're not barking at me, they're not being rude or disrespectful. They're being very respectful, and I'm sharing it with them. Because you know what? They would share it with me if they had the opportunity. So, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my bread here. A little bit of hummus on it. Breaking bread with our dogs is a wonderful way to spend a couple of mindful moments connecting. Oh, look at that. Look how nice they're being. Right? These are my buddies. These are my friends. And I want to make sure that what I do that pleases me helps please them. Besides, where else are you going to get the best crumb sweep ever, right? All right, so today's mindful moment was about sharing a moment of mindful eating with our dogs, and enjoy. And make sure you double check, make sure what you're feeding your dogs is safe. All right, we'll see you next time.